grew and expanded,
Rabbi,
not only on the campuses
So,
of Buffalo,
I think I was
but we
able
also
to
expanded,
go live
opening
now.
up
So right now it's
Chabad
live.
houses in
Right now it's
Rochester,
live.
in Syracuse, in
I'm just
Binghamton,
trying to see
in
how
Cornell.
to control it.
Thousands and thousands of
That's the thing.
Jewish students
Like, let's see if you wanna
return to their roots
Because wait, if it's live,
in the
you
most
can like pause it or unpause
loving
it.
way.
The first time, right? All you would
Even
replay
the
it,
students
right? But you could replay it, right?
who didn't even
After the live, you could replay it.
identify as
right?
Jews.
I believe so.
You would say they're agnostics, indifferent.
So yes, I used
Even
I
those
downloaded,
Jews
Encoder.
encoder,
were deeply
and
affected by Chabad.
Then I uploaded the video.
There are stories and
Encoders
stories
on the
of
laptop,
students
encoders on the channel.
who, when I would ask
Encoder
them
is-
if they
is an
were
app.
Jewish,
Right.
That
and
I
they
downloaded
answered
here.
no,
Yeah.
Then I put a video.
although they were.
I downloaded the video to my
And
computer
just
and I put
that
the video in the corner.
contact,
You
So-
put the full
bothered
record,
them
and then you
later.
upload
Yeah.
it.
Yes. Right now.
How did they
it's streamed
say
to
no?
YouTube though. It's streamed to YouTube.
So could I watch
And they
it on my
also
phone?
became
Yeah.
more and
Yeah,
more
try it.
interested in their religion.
Try it.
So we affected people who didn't even want to know from us. I make this joke many times when we had a table in the union. There are students who wanted to go as far away from our table. They walked into the wall. They bumped their heads into the wall. I don't want to know nothing from these guys. Guess what? They came back and they were affected. And now
You have the link.
we have thousands of students who are, their whole lives changed. Their family, their children.
The title. I
We
put
even
Chabad
have
of
Chabad House
Buffalo,
has
50th anniversary.
grandchildren of our alumni that are leading Chabad houses in other places. This is the philosophy of the Rebbe, philosophy of the whole Chabad organization. Every Jew possesses the same neshama. We have everything in common. Just a question, how many layers is covering up on
I
our
can also
soul?
schedule it, you see. I can also schedule it.
But down, deep down, we all are the same. So Mazel Tov, Hashem should bless us to give us the strength
through your email.
to keep continuing doing this work, of course, to reach the next Jubilee. But we hope and pray imminently
Moshe,
that Mashiach will come and we will able to unite with all the families that we have touched that are now spread out throughout the world.
okay.
Mazel tov.
Thank you, Rabbi Gorari. You might be wondering, why is this young woman here today? Why is she emceeing this event? How did Chabad affect her life? Well, let me share my story with you.
Now live on your channel. That's something you said now. You said it exactly, right?
I remember we were walking across this bridge and I was like, this is so interesting. What is this house? Who are these people?
I remember you coming into Chabad House the first time. And just as soon as you come in, I was like, this is my girl.
I never understood what Chabad was and what your mission was. When you went out of your way to do so many things for me, it kind of clicked. When I was 12, I moved to the United States, moved to Brooklyn, and my family and I went to Rosh Hashanah for some service for Rosh Hashanah. And we get in and they tell us, are you members? We're like, members. We just never ended up going back to any synagogue again. And so ever since then, I've been brushing my Judaism under the rug. I had kind of an identity crisis. It went, I'm Russian, I'm Jewish, I'm Israeli, and I had to kind of rank it. And it went from Israeli, Russian, and Jewish was at the very bottom. 2 weeks into college, I spike a fever. And it's not going away. And you texted me, are you coming? I said, I have a fever. And the first thing you said was, I'm on my way, I'm bringing you chicken soup.
I remember coming to your room and just bringing that soup and chal, because I feel like, when students come here and they, everyone is very vulnerable. They don't know anyone from right and left. It's a new atmosphere, a new place, and they don't really have that home, that home here. So I just want to make sure that you get that feeling.
It meant everything. I mean, I'm used to my mom being so on top of me, and for her to send me away was the hardest thing she's ever done, I think, because her baby wasn't there, her firstborn wasn't there. And so it meant everything to her, to me, that I had a Jewish mother in my life, even when I wasn't directly at home.
You were the ball of energy that rolled into Chabad house. And every day that you were there, every week or every class, you were like the pumping heart, the energy that was giving to everybody. And when you left, there was a hole that was left. We miss you every day, and that's what it is. And there is no replacement to anybody. Every person that leaves, there is no replacement.
And it really, really, really changed my life. I wouldn't be the same person without you. And now, I would like to share with you a report from the ground. Unlike many other synagogues and Jewish institutions, a large part of Chabad's activities are actually not at the Chabad Center, but rather the Chabad rabbis and rebbitzins engage the students on their turf. These engagements include welcoming the freshmen in their dorm room with fresh home-baked challah and chocolate, visiting their homes to put on tefillin, Hanukkah and Purim visits with menorahs, latkes, and hamantashen, and of course, sick visits with hot matzo ball chicken soup. Interactions, of course, are not just limited to Jewish themes, as the rabbi and rebbitzin are famous for their warmth and care. Many times, the most meaningful interactions are when they stop by for a simple chat. Let's get a sneak peek of Chabad in action.
Yeah, I don't know, here,
They try to visit students at their homes, apartments, try to do it at least once a week. Those that I don't see on campus, I try to visit them off campus.
I'm from Washington, D.C. I am a graduate student in computer science. I think I was staring at the sign because I knew what Shabbat was, and I was thinking about going, and he saw me looking. He was like, "Hey, are you Jewish? Do you want to learn more about Shabbat?"
no, this
And that's how it all started.
This is the encoder.
I went to Hebrew school twice a week
That's the live stream.
from about when I was 4 until I got my bar mitzvah, and then not much from then until Chabad. I'm happy to
That's the live stream.
start picking it up again. It's been a very big blessing in my life, I think, to have somewhere to go every Friday and have a community to be a part of.
I believe that every mitzvah kindles the spark of a Jew,
Here it's good. So
of
let me
the
try
Jewish soul. And even one mitzvah, like our sages tell us, one mitzvah leads to another mitzvah. And I've seen that many times, once someone does one mitzvah, they're already comfortable doing another mitzvah, and it brings them closer to, and they feel more comfortable doing more and more mitzvahs. So every Jew has that spark, the Jewish spark, and the mitzvah is what ignites it and brings it out.
If you log off the
Friday night Shabbat dinner?
Yes, God willing, there should be
Wi-Fi, I don't know.
Shabbat dinner,
You're off the Wi-Fi?
Yeah, no.
and you'll enjoy a great time.
I promised that you would get to see first-hand stories of real-life people whose lives were changed forever. I'm going to make good on that promise, so get ready to hear the fascinating life journey of one of the first students at Chabad in the early 70s. Mrs. Malka Wordy now serves as the Rebbitzin of Chabad at the Fashion Institute of Technology, known as FIT, in New York City.
For you, it's very clear, right?
I grew up in Plainview, Long Island as a typical American Jewish girl. I always knew I was Jewish. I had good grades in school, I had lots of friends. But in the course of growing up, I never really thought deeply about life itself. My mother never spoke to us, it was myself and my sister, about God, a soul. And my friends weren't involved deep philosophy or spirituality at that point in time. But that was to change. It was the Vietnam War, and we young children decided we wanted to give peace a chance. And there were peace moratoriums and there were student demonstrations. A young man who was on a college campus in Kent State University, Ohio, was killed by an executive order that the National Guard should shoot into the crowd. And I started questioning for the first time in life, what is life all about? So I decided that summer, 1970, I would go see the world. I had never left New York as a child, and now I met a friend. We both wanted to go out to California because we heard California is where things are happening.
I download video, put a video.
But I saw very, very hip, cool, long hair, dungarees, bell-bottom dungarees, kids out in California, and they seemed to really know something I didn't know. So what was it that they knew? They had gotten hold of this Eastern philosophy that had come over.
Crimson sunsets and golden dawn.
And then I decided, America's too small, Western civilization is too ignorant. I'm going to see the world. Before I left the journey, I wrote on my bedroom wall a little goodbye. Goodbye to material security, to childhood innocence, to my hometown, to the games I once thought I had to play, to hate, competition, and jealousy, to the rich, the greedy, the ignorant, to clothes, hair curlers, and TV dinners, to fear and anxiety, to repetition and boredom, to middle-class American suburbia. New Delhi was, little to my knowledge, New Delhi was colonized by the British, so it had this whole British tea houses and department stores. It was much, much different than I expected. So of course, again, I word of mouth, where should I go? I'm looking for a spiritual experience. I want to learn Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Zen, all of these isms that came out of that whole movement. So where should I go? So word of mouth was, hey, go to the Himalayas, go to Nepal. If you want to get high, go to the higher places in the world. So of course I decided I'm going to the Himalayas. I'm going to Rishikesh. Rishikesh is a town on the banks of the Ganges River, which was considered a holy river in Hinduism. If you dipped in it, you were purified, or whatever it did to you. The cows were considered sacred in Hinduism, and therefore there were cows roaming the streets and roaming into the Ganges rivers. And this was the scene that awaited me after I took a very, very long train ride from New Delhi to the Himalayas. At a certain point, I got homesick. I had an epiphany in foothills of the Himalayas that I missed my mother, I missed my home and my family. If I was meant to be a Hindu or a Buddhist, I would have been born in India or in the East, in Asia. But I wasn't. It became very, very potent to me at that moment in my life that I was born a Jew, and it must be significant that I was born a Jew. I reinstated myself quite miraculously into the fall semester of the very next year, 1971. So I see on the religious studies Indian mysticism. Of